AI generative fill has brought with it some controversy in relation to camera club competitions and what constitutes all our own work. I'm going to be using it in this video to remove and deal with distractions. The way generative fill works is that it requires us to define an area with a selection first, but it's restricted to an area of 1024 pixels by 1024. Now this means that if we try and fix a large area of our image with one big selection, we may see some loss in quality. But within limits, my experience is I still seem to get good results. Now here I have an image with one or two distractions, but my first problem is knowing what represents a 1024 pixel by 1024 pixel selection. There's a couple of ways I can think of doing this, but the way I've been using is to pick up either your elliptical marquee tool or your rectangular marquee tool, and generally speaking we can make a selection any shape we feel we need. But if we go to the top of the screen, under the styles here, we've got the option to choose a fixed size. Now you can see I've already got 1024 pixels in both boxes because once you put that value in there, it will remain until we change it. So now I can't use that same selection tool by clicking and dragging because it's restricted. I just need to click on the surface. There's my 1024 by 1024. And if I measure that up against the head of the bird that's poking in down there, we can see that it's a bit tight, but we're more or less there. So to deal with this bird's head, what I would do is I would get rid of that selection, Control D. I'm going to select my polygonal lasso tool. Let me bring this up a little bit. I'm going to make a selection just inside the woodwork and around the head of the bird. Then up at the top of the screen here we get the corrective fill dialog. If you don't see this, go to your Windows menu. That's the one you want, contextual taskbar. All I'm going to do here is put my cursor in the box and hit the enter key. And on this occasion, I'll allow the green bar to work in real time. If I show you other examples, I may speed this up by stopping the video. But you can see it doesn't take a whole heap of time for the repair that it's just given us. Now over on the right hand side in the properties window here we can see we've got three versions of our image. So we're looking at the first option, which is pretty good. The second one also acceptable, and so is the third. Not always, sometimes we want to pick the best of the three, and if we don't like the other two we can just click the bin and we can lose those if space is a problem. If it doesn't run as well as you would like, you can actually try to do it again by just regenerating because you may get a slightly different result. If I take you back to the layers though, you'll also notice that the repair has been done on a new layer. So we don't commit these changes until we're ready. But with the image enlarged on screen, I know the quality is all matching. It looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to hit Control 0 to fit the image on screen. Now it really is that simple, and the rest of my examples are going to be really a repeat of what we've just done. Let's deal with the one over on the right hand side. Here I'll go back to my rectangular marquee and click. Now we can see that that's going to work pretty well there, I think. So if I put that in that position, up to the generative fill, I'm going to hit the enter key, but I will speed this up. Well, there it is again, another pretty good result. Let's check the three versions. That one looks good, so does that one, and so does that one. I think I like the third one this time, so I'll drop the other two in the bin. Going back to the layers, there you can see our repairs. are gradually building up. Now it would be nice if I could get a more natural edge to the cut log here and also here. To do that, we may need to select the rectangular marquee just to give ourselves a guide on size, and we're more or less there, aren't we? But I'll use a different selection here, not the square one. Let's turn my attention to the freehand lasso tool, and I'll just make a selection around there and around the outer edge, and we'll do exactly the same as we did before. Now that result looks pretty good to me, and it looks convincingly like it's naturally broken, but let's take a look at this version, which looks even better. And we have that one too, which is a little bit on the weird side, so I'll get rid of that one and the first one, and I'll live with this. Which takes me to the next logical place, and that's the cut log further down. So let's do exactly the same tool. I'm just going to draw a quick selection along here and allow Photoshop to work its magic. Well, the result is not too bad. I've seen better. Let's have a look at the second option and the third option. They all look a bit on the straight side to me. So what I may do here is go to my layers, drag that in the bin. I'm going to select my polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to zoom in a bit. And I'm just going to make a different selection. Sometimes making a slightly different selection is all that's required to give us a better result. And once again, I'll do this super quick and I'll be back with the result. And if you look down to the properties here, you can see there's my first option, there's my second option, which I think looks much more ragged, and there's my third. So I'm going to dump the third and the first. I'll hit Ctrl 0. There's our completed image. Now AI Generative Fill is still relatively new, and we're all learning how to use it best, but I have picked up one or two tips which I can share. The first of those, which I've already mentioned, is we can click to generate and generate a second version or another 3 versions of the fix we've just put in place. And if you run Generative Fill again with exactly the same selection, you're unlikely to get the same result. It's just the nature of the AI way of working. Often, just altering your selection a little will make quite a difference. If in doubt, give it a try, because it's only going to take you something like 15 seconds tops. And as you can see here, where I generated 3 more options, we can see we've got a better result with regenerating the fix than I did originally. But of course, I haven't had to create another selection to do it. It's just the nature of AI. Now, if we do go back to the layers, of course, we're just reminded once again that all of those repairs were created on their own individual layer. So we can take a really good look at them, and if we've got any problems with them, we can just drop them in the bin and have another go. But at some stage, if we've saved this as a Photoshop file so we retain the layers, but at some stage we can merge or flatten the image to finish. Now, to bring this video to a close, I'm just going to show the image I showed briefly in the introduction. I'm going to go up to these 2 first, because I think there was the first repair that I did. And to make sure I stayed within the 1024 pixels, you can see I made a selection of the top half and then the bottom half. And you can see how nicely it's shaped around the branch there. The bottom left corner is quite a distraction, and there's the repair done with just a straight square, I think. Then we have the one on the right, where you can see it actually goes down and touches the bird's claw if I bring the size of the image up a bit, it gives you a better idea of the quality of the fix. And then finally, I did this one and then this one, and you'll notice how AI has protected the foot of the bird there and the tail of the bird pretty well. What more could I say? I'll see you next time.